think are common misperceptions about discerning a vocation?
I think that a lot of the common misperceptions is that seminarians and priests are different than real people in society, different than the rest of the Catholic community. And we're not, not different in any way.
Any concerns about the priesthood?
I think when I first started out, I had a big concern, can I do the academics, as a seminarian? Yeah. But then as you start, you go through, you see, God provides you with the graces, and the help, and guidance through those difficult times. And I thought as a priest, there were different responsibilities that they have to fulfill by trusting in God and just surrendering who you are. Yeah. It's amazing, the things He can do through you and use your talents and your gifts to really fulfill the vocation to which He's called you. So I think, you see that as you go along, that God really does provide and He will assist you through it. Although there are still at times some doubts and fears, but I think with anything, you have those concerns.
For me, it was, am I going to be able to get up in front of others and other people?
Exactly.
Because when I was little, I went to a Catholic school, and and they'd pick me to take up the offertory. I wouldn't do it because I was just afraid. And then whenever I started discerning a vocation, I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. How am I going to overcome this fear? Well, little by little, I became an usher. And then after that, then it was Eucharistic minister. A couple years later, I started lecturing. And then seminary, started singing. And so little by little, it just for prayer. And it didn't. It happened in years. It didn't happen in the next day. It just takes a lot of prayer and time. Time's the most important. And just trusting in God, knowing that if you mess up, it's not the end of the world. You just got to give it a try. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, am I going to be able to give homilies, and especially off the top of your head? But it's something I thought, well, if God got me this far, it's hard to tell how much more I'll grow. Mm-hmm. So it's just something I try not to think or worry about.
One thing that exactly what Ryan's talking about that reminds me of is early on, one of the first priests that I had met with and talked to, just in a casual over lunch, he said something to me that really, really stuck with me over the years, and it deals with this directly. We were talking, and I was expressing to him about my fears and concerns about whether or not I would be capable of doing something of that magnitude. And he told me, very casually, he said, Jim, God doesn't choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen.
That's interesting. God doesn't choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
you agree?
That's very true.
Yeah, very, very true.
Yeah. And you see that, I think, as you start formation. Really, the things I think we talked about this earlier, the things you learn about yourself and the things you see yourself able to do, through the grace of God. It's just sometimes, it's amazing. And a very true statement.